Hi guys, Fabiana here from Creative Swimwear, and today I'm gonna show you how I made this really nice top. Here it is. Hope you can see it well. So this is a small size. I also made a medium size for me. And at the end I'm gonna be explaining to you the differences in between one and another. This is a bit longer because I'd like to cover my belly, so I made this one a bit longer than the other one. That's for a friend. Okay, the machine that I use is the Sentro Machine that I love. It makes everything so fast, it's so awesome. And so it has 48 of these needles. If you're looking to buy one, they have 3 sizes. So the small one is only 28 needles, not enough to make clothing. So if you're looking to make tops and clothing and jumpers, etc., just buy the bigger one. It's too easy to carry with you. If you're going to travel or something, you just remove the legs, and then it's really light as well, and it makes knitting so much faster. Like, I mean, I made this top in 2 hours. 2 hours and a little bit, just because you have to, stitch and join all the parts together. And then I normally close the neck with crochet, so but I'll be teaching you how to make that on the way. And then needles, hooks. So I'm using 5.75 mil hook, which is good for that. And I used during this video, because I didn't have this one, 4.5 millimeters hook, but this one a bit better, okay? Because you need the stitches to be you don't need this tied, okay? Otherwise it just looks funny. And then, so yarn. I use this one, Reflection Moda Vera. That's Australian yarn, okay? But all this yarn, because they come from China anyway, they are available in America as well. All yarn in Australia mostly is Chinese. If it's not Chinese, really, really expensive. And as well, we have this yarn in Brazil because I saw it before. Okay, this top can also be made with the velvet, and it can also be made with wool or acrylic yarn, okay? And it would be the same, probably the same pattern, okay? Just leave me a comment down below if you like these tutorials, because I just changed from swimwear to tops. Even though they're summer tops, I thought it would be nice to share with you guys how easily this can be done and how awesome is this machine like. So let's get into it, and you're gonna see how amazing this is. So today, to make this top, we're gonna be working with our Sentro Machine and on the panel mode. I have the panel selected here because we are making a top, and that's not tubular, it's just a panel. So it's 2 panels, one from the front and one from the back. And I'll be working with this beautiful rainbow yarn. I love these colors. It's 100% acrylic, and I guess the thickness around 8 ply, maybe a bit more. And that's what these machines like. They really like the 8 ply plus yarn thickness. So other than the machine and the yarn, what I'm going to need is the needle that comes with the machine, which by the way is a 48 hooks one. And I bought the 48 because I was thinking of making tops and etc. So you need the maximum of stitches you can get. And then I'm using the 4.5 millimeters hook to finish the work, and I'm going to use the 2.1 millimeters. You can use 2.5 as well, or maybe a 3 if you have. and that's a crochet hook that I'm going to be using to decrease stitches. And scissor, of course. That's the only things you need. So let's come back here to the beginning. That's that hook. It's where the row starts always. So I'm going to go forward and start on the third hook, just because it doesn't work on the panel mode. The first and the second stitches are not gonna really get done properly. I tried before, and so I'll start on the third one, and then just make sure the hook grabs the yarn here. And all we're gonna do to cast the stitches on is go inside one, behind the next one, and then inside one, behind the next, inside and behind, side, behind. And we're gonna repeat that all the way until we reach 45-46 stitches. Okay, if you are making a small size, now you consider making less, okay? But you have to try before on your machine which sizes you get with different types of yarn, because it's very different from one to another. So just make a test little panel with like 10 stitches and see how many you're gonna need for the size of your body. Or you can even compare to another shirt you have at home or whatever. So here put all the way to the 45th stitch, and now I'm going to place it underneath here and in front of that hook. It's gonna be like that. Okay, and then I'm going to start making this first row and just making sure every hook gets the yarn. Okay, so make it slowly these first few rows so you don't lose any stitches. As soon as this one went under, I can start my way back, and that's gonna be my second row. So back here, second row. Make sure you count the rows, because later is hard. And as well here, if you see that the yarn didn't go under, just make sure the yarn is always on the bottom of the hook while it's the stitch is getting made. Okay, so it has to sit here, and then again go all the way until this is the yarns underneath here, and then apply some pressure, like pull it a bit, just to make sure it's not gonna have a lot of slack at the end there. And then I actually forgot to put here, and I always grab the yarn from inside, that way I don't have to, you know, keep opening. The machine does it by itself, which is quite, makes your life much easier. So that's the third row, and then back. I should have 5 now, 5 rows. And so repeat this until you have 50 rows. So how do you count the rows in case you forgot to count them? Because the counter, it doesn't work for panels, it only works for the T mode. So you have to count manually, and because you want to make both sides exactly the same. So I counted here on this side that I've already made, and I have 50 before I started to increase. And so I'm making this, for me it's a medium. Like if you are a small, you might consider making around 45, 42 or something like that, just a bit shorter. But the way you count the number of rows is, we're not going to be counting this first one. So here, that's the second one. So every little V, it's like a V going up or going down, like it's like a V like that. Don't know if you can see, but each one of these is one row. So 2, 4, 6, 8. Here you can see very well 10, 12, 14, 16. So I already counted here. I have 48 now. So I'll be making 2 more, and then I'm gonna explain to you how I made this part here, where I decrease the stitches for the arm, underneath the arm here. So, and the neck, this is the neck. So I'm gonna make 2 more, and then I'm gonna show you how I made how I decrease stitches. The way I did it is I'm going to decrease stitches here, 1 stitch on every side, until I have 20 stitches left for this neck, for the part of the neck. So I have to have 20 left. So because I have around 42, 43 stitches here, 42 stitches, I'll be decreasing for a few rows now. So the way you do to decrease, using this hook here, take the yarn out of the yarn holder here, out of this little piece, and then you're gonna start cranking back until you have all the first 3 up like that. And then we're going to remove the first stitch here. Don't worry about the slack on the yarn, because we can fix that later. Remove the second one, and remove the third one with this hook. Make sure the fourth one stays there. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna remove this third one from here. We're gonna put the second one in that next hook, and then the third one on top of it, and then the first stitch is gonna still be the first one. Okay, now you can just pull it a bit so you remove that slack we had to give before, just to remove the stitches from the hook. And now we are going to place underneath here and in front of the hook, inside the little yarn holder, and then we are ready to crank it back up. So gonna make for 2 stitches here, and because we are making 2 together, we're gonna have 1 less. And the end of all the rest of the row, you can do it normally. And then getting to the end here, and just finish it normally. Make sure it's underneath here, and then I can start cranking it back. Remove this from here, crank it all the way until that third hook is on the top. And then stop there, otherwise you're gonna open this one and you don't want that. So we're gonna remove here, and then we're gonna remove the second one, and we are going to remove the third one as well. See, this one has to stay there. Make sure that one doesn't come undone, otherwise you're gonna have a problem later. So now I have these 3 out of here, and I want the second one on top of the third one. So I'm going to remove that, put the second one in the hook, put the third one on top of it, put the first one where on the next hook. Here, underneath here, in front of the hook and inside the holder. You can still pull it a bit just to make sure all the stitches are tied, and then we can start making it again. So as I said, we're gonna be decreasing stitches, one on each side in every row until we count 20 here. So when you count 20 here, we're gonna still make a few more rows. Here I made 17 rows after I stopped decreasing, and then now I'm going just to run one full row without yarn. Remove all the stitches this way. And now what we're gonna do is, with another color yarn, we are going to put the yarn in this needle here, this tapestry needle you can use, and then we're gonna leave that there because we're gonna crochet with this yarn later, and we're gonna from this first one here, we're gonna start just removing. Make sure I just covered the next one with my finger so it doesn't come undone. And we just leave a little tail like that, and that's how you cast them off. The hooks, quite easy, and don't worry about this collar because we're gonna be removing this yarn later. And then remove all of them, and then just leave the tail loose at the end. We're gonna start working with the crochet on the top here. And this next one we're gonna use the hook anyway. So remove this from here. And then we're gonna start working with this hook here. Okay, so I'm going to put this hook through that first stitch. Here now I already grabbed my first loop or my first stitch there, and then now I'm going to work crochet in every one of these stitches here. You can see the loops, and that's why I use a different color to cast off as well, so you can see the loops. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to put the hook through inside the last loop, and I'm going to pull yarn over here and just pull it through both of them. And now here, make sure the loop's not too tight close to the hook. Make sure you just leave the loop a bit open like that, a bit loose, and then so it's not too tight after you finish. So that's what's gonna look like, and then the yarn over and just pull through both sides. So this crochet, that's a slip stitch here, and make sure the loop's open enough just so it's not tied at the end. So that's all I'm going to be doing on this last row to close the work more nicely. So you're gonna grab this one here, this last loop here, yarn over, pull through both. Okay, I'm on the last stitch here. Make sure you grab all the stitches before you remove, because I'm going to be removing this now, because we don't need that anymore. And let's see how it looks nicely, much nicer at the end with a little crochet finishing. So let's see if we have the same size. is gonna be for the neck, but because I want this to be I want the shoulders to have a little bit of a few stitches from one to another, so there's space for the shoulders. Otherwise this is gonna be too tight on your neck. See, the hole is way too small. So you're gonna make a few crochet stitches to separate them a bit so you can fit your head through it, because as you can see it's really small. So I'm thinking around 10 chains. So what you're gonna do is, after you made the last stitch, you're gonna have one loop, you're gonna yarn over, put the hook through, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So if you think that 10 is enough for you, you can have an idea. Just looking at this, I don't think it's gonna be enough still to put my head through this thing here. So I'm going to be making a few more, 5 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now let's see again. So let's put it here, and then here we'll have the similar size. Let's see. Well, we can always make it and try, you know. I think 15 stitches here is enough, and now I'm gonna make 2 more just in case. If it's too big at the end, you can just undo it and remake it again. So I'm making 17, 18 chains here. Okay, so I have 2. It's again, you count like the same. It's very similar to the knitting stitches. You count every V as a stitch. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. So I have 18 stitches here. And now I'm going to join with the front. So make sure you have both wrong sides facing each other, and then we're gonna join here with this first stitch of the other side. Don't worry too much about having a nicer finish here, because we're gonna make it better later. So here we have that first stitch here, and then we're gonna put the hook through that first stitch and just pull it again like we did before. Okay, and we're gonna finish it here because I wanna be working on the right side. So let's cut the yarn here and start on the other side. Okay, so finish this here. We can make a knot here just to hide the tails after. So the way we start it is we make a slip knot, which is put the hook inside the yarn like this, twist it on the front, and then with this yarn that's going to be a running yarn, you're going to make yarn over, pull through. So that's how we're gonna start, and then we're gonna put the hook through that first stitch here and here, both sides of the stitch, and we're gonna be making a slip stitch. So we're gonna pull it through both. And then we're gonna make again 1, 2, 3, 4. So after I made these chains on this side, I started here and I made the same number of chains on the other side as well. So I'm here on this side now. I started on the other side of my top, and now I'm going to join them both together here in that first stitch on the other side here. So in that first stitch on the neck, and I'm going to make a slip stitch here, and then I'm gonna turn the work so you're facing the right side of this top, and then I'm going to start working the same thing we did before. So I'm going to put the hook inside that first stitch, pull it, and make a single crochet this time. So put the hook through, yarn over, pull it, and pull it again. The hook through, yarn over, pull it. You're gonna have 2 loops, and then we're gonna do that all around the neck, just to finish it off nicely. So once you finished on this side, I'm gonna show you, and then getting here where that knots are, I'm going to make on this last stitch there, and then I'm going to start working on top of the chains. Make sure you flip this chain so you can see them this way. I'm gonna put the hook through that first one and make a single crochet. So see, you can see them here. That's the second one. Make another stitch. So I'm going to make 1 single crochet in each chain, and then so I'm gonna work around the whole neck. I went all around it with the single crochets, and now I'm going to finish it off here with a slip stitch like this, and then I'm gonna cut this yarn off, and I'm going to start working on the armholes. So I'm going to work single crochets all around this part here, joining them both together. Now I got 2 markers here, and with these markers I'm going to place one of them exactly where I started to decrease stitches, which is here on both sides. So here and here, you can see because there's 2 stitches made together here, and that's the first one we did that. So here and here, place a marker. It should be the same size on both sides, because we started to decrease stitches at the same on the same row on both sides. Funny because I didn't calculate that, but it's the same color on the back, on the front, and I actually like that. And from here to here, it's around the same size. So now that we have both sides together with this place, with these markers, we'll be making here a slip knot to start with. And we're gonna start on this side here, because we're going that way, and start right here in this first stitch. So I'm gonna place the hook here in this first stitch right after the marker we just placed, and I'm going to slip stitch. So yarn over, pull through, and pull through here as well. Now if you want to use, it's gonna be hard to use the same color, so just because it's rainbow and we are working that way, so it is what it is. Unless you want to just leave it like that, it could be as well, but I like to finish it off better. So I made the stitch here, and we're gonna be working each row one stitch. So single crochets in each little V of each row. It's just each row, so each row one stitch, and we should be okay. And then when we get to this these chains here, it's gonna be one stitch to each chain as well, and we're gonna go around, and then we're gonna close. We're gonna join both sides together right at the end here where our marker is. We're gonna stitch both sides. We're gonna make crochet both, join both sides together with the crochet. And getting here, I'm going to be making one single crochet to each chain. So just on the other side of the chain, as you can see, that last loop, this loop of the chain here, just make one single crochet in each one of these loops. I got here to where my marker is. I made the last single crochet here just before the marker, and now I'm going to make one single crochet in this next stitch on the other side there. So single crochet here, and then I'm going to slip stitch in this first single crochet on the other side. So slip stitch here, and then both sides are joined together. So what I did on the other side, because I still don't know if I should stitch both sides together and make it closed, or I should just make a little, some strings here to just make a lace around here somewhere. So I'm going to try it on me before I remove this marker here. So I'm gonna try it on, and just in case here, I'm going to leave a string big enough so that I can sew one side with the other with this needle here, so I can stitch both sides together later if I want to. So just leave around 1 meter of string, that should be enough, 1 meter of yarn. And what we're gonna do, we're gonna just pull this here to close the last stitch, and then try it on yourself and see what you prefer to do. So I'm gonna leave this last, this first row of both sides here. I'm just gonna leave it like it is, because otherwise it gets too tight here if you make crochet, or if you want to make crochet on this row as well, you can make the same thing we did on the neck, but make sure you make it very loose, otherwise it's going to be hard to fit. So I'm going to just leave it like that because I actually liked it. So to start here, I'm using a smaller needle just because it's easier to stitch through. And I actually chose a part of the yarn that's similar color to what I'm gonna be stitching most of the top, instead of the green one that I had here before. So what I'm going to do is go through first stitch here, and if you want to put place a marker right in the middle of these two parts here where they join, just to make sure you're gonna be stitching, you know, they're gonna end up at the same spot here, you can do that too. You know, just place a marker right here in the middle, just to make sure they're gonna end up together at the end, like at the same spot. So here, put the hook through both stitches there, and what I did was I made a knot here. I always think that knots are the easiest way to do it because they don't open. And then we hide this little tail later on. And so I'll be just stitching using the last stitch that I have on both sides here. Basically one each row. So grab one of each row, and because we have the same amount of rows on both sides, it should end up at the same place. Much of it. And right now I got monetized on my channel as well, so if you wanna leave me a thanks, just click on the thanks button and you can help me buying the yarn, etc. because I still don't have a sponsor for yarn. I might have in the future, but I don't have, so I have to buy my own yarn to make these patterns. So if you like to say thanks and just, you know, send me a little help to buy my pattern, to buy my yarn to make all these patterns for you guys, that would be awesome. So I joined them both together all the way. I finished off right here, and then I'm just gonna make a knot here with both parts of the yarn again, just to make sure it's not gonna open later on, and then cut this here around here, and with this hook here, that's what I did in every other one of them. You can just put it through a few stitches. And this is like, this machine is a very easy way to make tops for the summer. It works really nicely with most of the yarns. I'm actually gonna make a video just with the yarns I've been trying, because I've been trying many. Okay, cut this off right here. So this is how our top looks like at the end. And I tried on me and it's perfect. Okay, this is enough space for your arms. It fits nicely, and then this finishing works really good too. And here, I don't know if I said, but I just left as it is, as the machine makes, because then it's, you know, it just opens up and I don't have to worry about it being too tight, because I actually made another jumper for the winter, and I made this last row with crochet and it was a bit too tight. So be aware that if you want to finish this with crochet, you can, but you have to use a very big hook. I bought this one just then, is a 5.75 J10, that's what it says there. Normally don't use big hooks because, as you guys know, I make swimwear, but I bought this hook because it is better for finishing these tops that I've been making with the Sentro Machine. So this size was perfect for a medium, which is for me. It almost covers my belly perfectly. But I had a friend, she's a small, and she wanted a smaller one, so for her I made less rows from here to where I started decreasing. That's the front of it. Here I made the same, Same thing I did before for a small, and this part I decreased the same amount of stitches as well on this part where your arm goes. The only difference that I made here that I saw online and I thought it was cool, I didn't close the sides all the way to the bottom, so I left it open because I saw it on Pinterest, and I probably will will put the photo on the video after of my inspiration photograph image. And so this looks really cool actually. Love this top. This yarn is awesome to work with this machine. And for the machine, I realized after trying a lot of yarns, okay, that the good size for this machine is the yarn that says needle size from 4 to 6.5. More than that, I tried, and I'm gonna put a few photos, a little video that I made here. It doesn't work good, so you can't have yarn that needs 8 millimeters hook is too thick, it doesn't work. So this one I tried as well, and that's the next top that I'm making. This works really good, and it's Falx Mo, that's the brand of it. And needle, well, yes, for a 4.5 millimeters needle, so it's on the range, and that's probably how people like it. So that's the next tutorial I'm making for the next week. And this is the yarn that I use for this one. It has, I'm gonna put it on the description below as well, because I think in America and Brazil they have the same type of yarn. So that's it, guys. Leave me a comment, let me know if you liked it. This tutorial, this top I made in around 2 hours, which is awesome for a knitted top like that. You normally would take more than a day to make this with the normal needles and not the machine. So leave me a comment, say thanks on the button below if you want to help me buying some yarn. There's the thanks button. I just got monetized and I'm loving making these videos for you guys. I'll see you next week.